I'm Jim Lanchey, and I'm on the board of directors and have the privilege of chairing the board of directors for Spectramesh, which is part of the AMBER initiative, which is a novel approach to helping telecommunications be made available in many underserved or not served areas of the world today.
My name is John Hooks, and I'm President and CEO of Spectramesh Incorporated. The founders and directors of the AMBER Foundation and I share a common vision. That is to broaden financial inclusion among the less privileged segments of society and to economically empower the many people currently constrained by the so-called digital divide. Efficient and reliable internet access has become critical to supporting this growth and development of any country. We believe that the introduction of the Spectramesh Network Appliance will play a significant role in uplifting underserved communities and significantly increasing the overall quality of internet service to all.
We often hear the term digital divide, and what it really signifies is there are many people in the world that have access to the internet or broadband access, much as we take for granted in the United States, but there are also people who don't have any access at all globally. And our research, which is the product of the efforts of other people, show that there are about 3.9 billion people right now who either don't have it or are greatly underserved. And we think that we can probably help about 750 million of those people as we inaugurate this coverage over the next several years. We're targeting several different types of areas, and they include, for example, sub-Saharan Africa or parts of India, Indonesia, for example, and many countries that we would call emerging market countries. But interestingly, there are countries that are cutting edge that are also interested in this, and so there may be countries in Scandinavia that would also be suitable for this. In all, we're looking at 39 countries initially, where we're starting discussions in order to see if we can implement this technology.
The Spectramesh hardware development team has clearly mapped a development path that commences with the off-the-shelf transceiver protocol stacks before ultimately migrating to its own proprietary multi-frequency and multi-protocol full-spectrum chip. Although development of the full-spectrum chip is expensive, once complete, it will be possible to produce devices at a very low cost.
People who use our device, the device we're going to talk about in a few moments, are going to own that device, and that ownership of that device provides them their ownership in the entire network. So if you think about the model that we have right now, particularly in the United States or in Europe, you're a subscriber for a service and people provide you with the equipment and you pay monthly fees or on whatever time interval you choose. And so you're buying that service and you're renting the equipment. Here, you buy a very inexpensive piece of equipment, you own it, and as we'll talk about how the process works in a few minutes, you're now able to be involved in the ownership of the network and derive income from it. The product works that we have a very specialized router, unlike anything you've ever seen before, because most routers, for example, have a reach of about 150 feet. Ours is measured in kilometers, and it communicates with other routers in order to enable this network. And most routers, for example, are what are called receivers. Ours is a transceiver because it both sends and receives. So our router not only enables you to access broadband, but it allows you to talk to other routers that are in the network.
Additionally, optional hardware modules can be mixed and matched to support a multitude of frequency ranges and protocols, dependent upon its operating circumstances. In addition to supporting multi-band communications, each unit has both computation and storage resources, which facilitate edge computing applications. This turns a network of Spectramesh appliances into a dedicated mesh of micro data centers at the edge, that is, the last mile. Further, each Spectramesh network node supports a firmware-based blockchain infrastructure and will communicate with other Spectramesh nodes to maintain the integrity of that blockchain. A high level of security is provided to routers, their owners, and their Amber wallets through a sophisticated digital identity layer, combined with the blockchain technology built into each router. With this capability, a Spectramesh networking appliance can be used to support wallet-oriented micropayment systems, secure contracts, and securely managed transactions. Spectramesh is expected to begin generating revenue from the sale of its Series 1 mesh network appliances after the R&D, prototyping, and manufacturing phases are complete. Revenue from sales of Series 2 units will commence upon conclusion of the concurrent design, prototyping, and manufacture of these advanced function appliances. Spectramesh will use the funds raised to design, build, and bring to market the aforementioned mesh networking appliances that are capable of communicating across a mixed spectrum of wireless, Bluetooth, lower WAN, etc. for broadband and Internet of Things, a first for consumer router devices.
I think one of the things that we've done, if you take a look, well, first of all, when you look at Spectramesh and you look at our private placement memorandum, one of the things we really want you to do, we want to do a couple of things. We want you to really look at the private placement memorandum, read it, think about it, study it, understand what the potential is, but also understand what the risks are. We're really big on that. But we also encourage you to take a look at the white paper for the Amber Foundation. And if you look at the white paper for the Amber Foundation, and you look at the credentials of the 22 people who are involved in that in order to make this possible, their credentials are really humbling. A lot of those people have incredible resumes. And many years ago, I knew a man who started a company that became one of the Fortune 500 companies. And he said to me, "Jim, if you want to be successful, associate with the best and brightest people you can." And that's a recipe for success. And I think at least we're trying to do that in the case of Amber Foundation, Amber Tech, and Spectramesh. So primarily, we're looking at two different types of chips. You may have heard the term chipsets in the past, and so we're concerned with two different varieties. One is a chip that's able to handle a variety of different spectrums. So when we talk about spectrums, we're talking about Wi-Fi, WiMAX, 4K, 5K, Ethernets, other types of spectrum. So we're building special chips that can handle all of that without having to deal with each of them individually. And then the other part of it is that the way in which we use these tokens to access the system or to get rewarded if you're providing a service to somebody else on the system, we keep track of that using blockchain technology. And so we have a special chip that we use, a chipset, that is called a consensus chip that enables us to process the results on a blockchain better than other people can.
The Amber Foundation is in the process of drafting and filing for a number of patents and will continue to do so in the future. Spectramesh will license this intellectual property from the Foundation. Further details will be continuously disclosed as soon as possible for all proposed patent activity. At Spectramesh, we are taking up the challenge of enabling universal access to high-speed broadband for all. To achieve this, we have an ambitious yet realistic vision of building the world's largest decentralized, community-distributed telecommunications network based on blockchain technology.
You know, you reach a point in life when you'd like to do something where you can be part of a team that's making a contribution and it's going to help people in general. And I'm a big believer that the free flow of information is really a force for good in the world. And so if we're able to be instrumental in implementing this technology in areas that don't have this kind of service, and people can have access to ideas from around the world, a lot of good things are going to happen. You're going to boost people's economic circumstances, and you're going to change the whole socioeconomic environment those people live in. And so if I can be a little part of that whole process, for me it would be a great reward at this point in my life.